Hey guys. guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizen can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
So ain't this a bitch?
Yeah. Yep.
Ain't this a bitch?
Yep.
America's heroes who fought in our wars, outside sweating their asses off, with oxygen, battling all kinds of ailments, while these motherfuckers sit in the air conditioning, walled off from any of it. They don't have to hear it. They don't have to see it. They don't have to understand that these are human beings. Do you get it yet? Do we see that these aren't heroes? These are men and women, mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers that we just let stand outside in the heat when they can't breathe. I'm going to read you something. This is beautiful. I'm going to read you something beautiful. You know what? I said a curse word, and I'm sorry about that. That was my fault.
Sorry.
Let me say something beautiful.
If you're listening.
This is a tweet from Senator Rick Scott of Florida from yesterday. It's beautiful. And I'm sorry about the cursing, and let me say something beautiful to make it up to you. I was honored to join the USO today and make care packages for our brave military members in gratitude of their sacrifice and service to our nation. And there's a beautiful picture. I wish you could see it.
It's a beautiful
He's
picture.
Standing with a little package. Did you get the package?
Did you get the package?
I think it has M&Ms in it and some cookies and some moist towelettes. I don't even know, honestly, I don't even know what to say. I've been coming down here 10, 15 years. I'm used to the hypocrisy. Christina King will tell you from VFW. She sat in an office with Mitch McConnell, a war veteran from Kentucky, and he looked that man in the eyes and he said, "We'll get it done."
Oh, that gave you.
And he lied to him. Because Mitch McConnell yesterday flipped. I'm used to the lies. I'm used to the hypocrisy. Senator Pat Toomey won't take a meeting with the veterans groups. Sends out his chief of staff. I'm used to the cowardice. I've been here a long time. Senate's where accountability goes to die. These people don't care. They're never losing their jobs. They're never losing their health care. Pat Toomey didn't lose his job. He's walking away. God knows what kind of pot of...
Angel Flower, I'll pretend you didn't say she is the only one with a mask on. So what if she's hot? I'll pretend you didn't say so what if she's hot.
Gold he's stepping into to lobby this government to shit on more people. I'm used to all of it, but I'm not used to the cruelty. They passed it. June 16th, they passed the PACT Act. 84-14. You don't even see those scores in the Senate anymore. They passed it.
Hey, Mr. Parts.
Every one of these individuals that has been fighting for years, standing on the shoulders of Vietnam veterans who have been fighting for years, standing on the shoulders of Persian Gulf War veterans fighting for years, Desert Storm veterans, to just get the health care and benefits that they earned from their service. And I don't care if they were fighting for our freedom. I don't care if they were fighting for the flag. I don't care if they were fighting because they wanted to get out of a drug treatment center or it was jail or the army. I don't give a shit.
It was Hunter.
They lived up to their oath.
No, I didn't.
And yesterday, they spit on it in abject cruelty. These people thought they could finally breathe. You think their struggles end because the PACT Act passes? All it means is they don't have to decide between their cancer drugs and their house. Their struggle continues.
What a decision.
Does a lot more than just give us health care.
Gives them health care, gives them benefits, lets them live.
Keeps veterans from going homeless, keeps veterans from becoming addicts, keeps veterans from committing suicide.
Senator Toomey's not going to hear that because he won't sit down with this man. Because he is a fucking coward.
Oh,
You hear me?
swore again.
A coward. And like I say, I'm used to it. But this type of cruelty on those that we say we hold up as our most valued Americans, then what are we? Pat Toomey stood up there, Patriot Pat Toomey, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Patriot
I want to
Pat.
give him his propers. I want to make sure that I give him his propers. Patriot Pat Toomey
Worthless
stood on the
Pat.
floor and said, this is a slush fund. They're going to use $400 billion to spend on whatever they want. That's nonsense. I call bullshit. This isn't a slush fund. You know what's a slush fund? The OCO, the Overseas Contingency Operations Fund, $60 billion, $70 billion every year on top of $500 billion, $600 billion, $700 billion of a defense budget. That's a slush fund, unaccountable, no guardrails. Did Pat Toomey stand up and say, this is irresponsible, the guardrails? No, not one of them did. They vote for it year after year after year. You don't support the troops, you support the war machine.
No shit.
That's all you care about.
He personally signed the proclamation to send me to war.
Boy, they haven't met a war they won't sign up for, and they haven't met a veteran they won't screw over.
It's so true.
What the fuck are we?
Barbaric. It's barbaric.
And now they're going to go away. Pat Toomey says, I've got veterans groups behind me. I call bullshit. These are the veterans groups.
Mic drop.
VFW, American Legion, IAVA, Wounded Warriors, DAV, AMVETS. They're all here. This is the veterans community,
Mic drop.
Senator. They don't stand behind you. In fact, you won't let them stand in front of you.
The coward.
Cowards, all of them. Cowards, all of them.
Cowards.
And now they say, well, this will get done maybe in the after we get back from our summer recess, maybe during the lame duck, because they're on Senate time. Do you understand? You live around here. Senate time is ridiculous. These motherfuckers live to 200. They're tortoises. They live forever, and they never lose their jobs, and they never lose their benefits, and they never lose all those things.
We need to stop for a moment and just look at the guy in the background on both sides, but the one with the blonde hair behind the hottie. That is freaking, he's like, are you kidding me? That was the best.
Things. Well, they're not on
like,
Senate time.
we're okay.
They're on human time, cancer time. Don't you have families? Don't you have people who are deciding how to live their last moments? I know some of them. They've been down here advocating with us. They spent their remaining time advocating so that other soldiers didn't have to face the indignities and the depravity and the desperation that they faced. And none of them will hear it. And none of them care. Except to tweet. Boy, they'll tweet it. Can't wait to see what they come up with on Veterans Day, on Memorial Day. Well, this is the reality of it. I honestly don't even know what to say anymore, but we need your help because we're not leaving. These people cannot go away. I don't know if you know this. You know, obviously I'm not a military expert. I didn't serve in the military, but from what I understand, you're not allowed to just leave your post when the mission isn't completed. Apparently you take an oath. You swear an oath, and you can't leave. But these folks can leave because they're on Senate time. Go ahead, go home, spend time with your families, because these people can't do it anymore. So they can't leave until this gets done. Because these people will not give up, they will not give in, and they will not relent. This is an embarrassment to the Senate, to the country, to the founders, and all that they profess to hold dear. And if this is America first, then America is fucked.
Thank you. Thank you. Any on-topic questions?
Yeah, look, I didn't see Jon Stewart. He's actually quite funny. Look, he's talking about the PACT Act, which is a bill I support. It's a bill most Yeah, look, I didn't see Jon Stewart. He's actually quite funny. Look, he's talking about the PACT Act, which is a bill I support. It's a bill most senators support.
Oh, hello. I'm Jon Stewart. Apparently. Quite funny. And I'm awfully interested in what Theodore Cruz is about to say about the PACT Act.
Theodore Cruz.
Go on.
But what the dispute is about is the Democrats played a budgetary trick, which is they took $400 billion in discretionary spending and they shifted it to mandatory.
One thing, what Ted Cruz is describing is inaccurate, not true. Bullshit! This is no trick. Everything in the government is either mandatory or discretionary spending, depending on which bucket they feel like putting it in. The whole place is basically a fucking shell game. And he's pretending that this is some new thing that the Democrats pulled out, stuck into the bill, and snuck it past one Ted Cruz. Now, I'm not a big city, Harvard-educated lawyer, but I can read. It's always been mandatory spending so that the government can't just cut off their funding at any point. No trick, no gimmick, been there the whole fucking time.
And so it's just part of the out-of-control spending from the left.
They want to buy Hunter Biden cocaine, a crack cocaine, and they want to purchase all your pronouns. Be careful. They're coming for your pronouns. It's nonsense. There is nothing in the bill that is not related to veterans spending. And don't take my word for it. An asshole on an iPhone. Read it. It's at congress.gov. This is for veterans who suffered health effects from being exposed to burn pits and other toxins. That is it.
What the Republicans got made clear is if we leave that spending as discretionary, don't play the budgetary trick, the bill will pass with 80 or 90 votes.
I don't know how many other ways to say
It already did.
but there was no budgetary trick, and it was always mandatory. And when they voted in the Senate on June 16th, they actually got 84 votes. And you know who voted for that? Ted fucking Cruz and every other one of those Republicans that switched their votes. There was no reason for them to switch the votes. The bill that passed the Senate 84-14 on June 16th has not had one word added to it by Democrats or spending fairies or anybody else.
fairies.
It's the same fucking bill. This is bullshit.
I didn't see what Stewart said, so I don't know
Do you
what it
think
was.
people
So
say
I got to get on
he
the
could
plane.
write?
A plane? I wonder where that's going. Perhaps. I leave you with a quick montage of Ted Cruz praising to the heavens our nation's fighting men and women, juxtaposed with him fist bumping his Senate colleagues after removing those same veterans' benefits and health care for toxic wounds.
To our veterans, we say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mr. Cruz, no.
No. Ow.
Motherfucker.
Ow. Kind of looks like Jon Stewart actually helped the Democrats right there. Basically, kind of looks like Jon Stewart helped the Democrats basically write their next campaign against him. But welcome, everyone, to the American Awakening. PFC Bergy here, reporting for duty. That was a long entrance, but got a pretty good show lined up. We're going to take a little trip back to the past, a blast from the past, with an interview or not an interview, but just a recording I did. I think the first time I met Roger Stone. It was with Bikers 45 and Proud Boys in 2019, right? So that is about 20 minutes. I recorded it live on Facebook at the time in April of 2019. Almost 1 year to the day of when I was contacted by Tori, Millie, and Gavin. Actually, Tori was on the 15th. I met with Roger Stone on the 19th. Millie and Gavin contacted me on 4/20, 2020, exactly 1 year later. So it's kind of like, a lot of times I hear Tori saying somehow that she was calling this out before me or something like that. Like she, was, no. There's a lot of context that we're clearly missing, right? With everything that was going on. But this is interesting. So let me do this here. Hold on 1 second. Hold on, I got to restart this. There we go, and I got to set this up. There. Don't you? I love that entrance. I had to shut the
Table. Hey, George.
Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on. I got to do one more here. And we'll be okay. I'll do that. Well, Bergy, let me delete that.
Immigration policies that left our...
So, let me do this here. Let me set this up. Sorry. Although I do love that coin. I can't feel bad about keeping screwing that up.
Roger Stone. He's actually sitting at my table. Hey, George.
Endless foreign
He's actually sitting right here.
where our inherent national interests were not clear. The erosion of our civil liberties, using our intelligence agencies to collect metadata on American citizens. Immigration policies that left our streets and neighborhoods unsafe.
I gotta fix something here real quick. Bear with me one moment. There. I had to change the actual video that I was using because after rendering the whole thing, and it was like a completely last minute, but after rendering the whole thing, I put the source, I typed in American Awakening instead of The American Awakening, and I was like, shit, I can't do this whole thing with the wrong URL. So I had to redo it and loaded everything up, reloaded everything again in the last minute. Real quick, though, Hi Hip, hi Southern Charms, Missing Parts, who? Hello Nance from over in YouTube land. And Fran Moyer, hello. Misinformed, who? Just quick hellos to everyone there. Now, pay close attention. I can't stress enough. Notice that's a Proud Boy standing right in front of me. Almost it looks like Tario, but I don't think it is. He has his cell phone hooked up to a mic that's being held by another guy. They actually have a pretty good operation, but listen carefully to what Roger Stone says here.
To him about the shadow net.
The people who were waiting in line to come.
Now, you just real quick also, you'll hear me occasionally talking into the background. It's because I'm sitting here like this. I'm recording it on Facebook Live. And I'm kind of whispering a little bit to my friend Kevin, and I think Jaybird, were also tuned into this. So that's what you'll hear me saying. And it's important to note that I'm acknowledging right then, listen, Roger Stone was sitting at our table, right? When I say that Stone coordinated between, which they're looking at right now, right? They're looking at how Stone coordinated the events of January 6th. And right now you're looking at how they did it. This goes back to 2019. It was the Proud Boys bikers that basically coordinated his ground game here. At very least in Florida, and I know most of these folks were in D.C. as well.
Jones and Dynology. I've had a great talk with.
Trade policies.
Now, did you hear that where I said, listen to what I said there?
Where our inherent national interests were not clear. The erosion of our civil liberties, using our intelligence agencies to collect metadata on American citizens.
Using our intelligence agencies to collect metadata on our citizens. Right? That was Roger Stone. But listen to what I'm saying.
Immigration policies that left our streets and neighborhoods unsafe.
I talked to him about the shadow net.
I talked to him about the shadow net.
The people who were waiting in line to come here legally.
Jones and Dynology.
And Jones, General Jones, and Dynology.
I've had a great talk with.
Trade policies that.
And so when Gavin and Millie put in Shadowgate that I was Roger Stone was working with Paul Manafort or had knowledge like of the ShadowNet. That's what it was based on, right? Although I still had a question mark myself in front of his name. I maintain that to this day. When you listen to what he says here in this speech, you'll see, and then, okay, so at the end of this speech, you'll hear me say how, listen, I'm going to go back to my home, and at 10 o'clock that night, I was going to do another, I was going to do an American Awakening where I talk about meeting Stone. And I did, and I have that right after this is over, which we'll probably go into in the second hour, which actually is kind of cool. It has my old intro to the American Awakening, which is kind of cool because this was in 2019, and I was just starting this stuff out. But and then it has and the intro is a little bit different, right? It has like a flag. It has some stuff from a flag and such from when we were going around doing events with Trump and such for Trump, right? So Here, we'll get back to this, but I did just want to set that up a little bit. But now listen carefully to what he says. I mean, he's talking right there about exactly what we had just spoken about.
Embrace these
He knows exactly who I'm talking
kind
about.
of one size fits all, like NAFTA, which literally sucked the jobs and opportunity out of America. And a flat economy where kids who graduated from college were forced to move back in with their parents because there were no jobs, where taxes were strangling us, and where there was no opportunity. Now, I go back to an interview that Donald Trump gave, has to be more than 20 years ago, with Oprah Winfrey, where she said, "What about you, Donald? Would you ever run for public office? Would you ever run for president?" And he said, "No, I don't think so. Unless things get so bad that I have no choice."
Yeah.
That's where we are today.
God bless him.
Some men ran for president to be someone.
It is a practiced diatribe, Wicked, but also you'll probably find that some of what he throws in there is like kind of off the hip.
George Bush comes to mind. Donald Trump ran for president to do something.
Yes.
And that is making America...
Kevin, he's sitting right at my table, Kevin.
Had the implacable
He knows
opposition
Jones. He knows
of the
they're out
two-party duopoly in Washington, and the elites who like things just the...
Did you hear me say he knows who Jones is? He knows what's going on. You heard me say that, right? Now, can I sit here with a microphone right in front of, and show you with him saying that? No, I can't. But, oftentimes witness testimony, when it's documented immediately afterwards, is used in courts. You'll also hear me, and by the way, I'm sitting right next to George. George can hear me, what I'm saying. If I was saying something not true, he'd probably make a comment about it. And then I also point out that George was there when he was saying that and will agree with everything. You'll hear that, I believe, towards the end.
Way they are.
Yeah.
And we see it manifested in the tsunami of fake news, constantly attacking this president, his family, his administration.
Hey, Kevin, did you hear me? I already talked to Stone.
It is
awesome.
Really
Kevin, can you hear me? I already talked to Stone.
extraordinary
Jay.
because 2016
No, that's not Jay.
was the year in which the mainstream media monopoly, the stranglehold on political coverage and the political narrative and the political news in America was broken by a vibrant and robust
Hey, Kevin, he's sitting right at my
media
table.
based in the internet. And now, the greatest single danger to the Trump revolution, indeed, the danger to
How did Kevin piss you off, Wicked? I gotta throw that up to him, throw that in his face. He's
the Trump agenda, the Trump re-election, and the Trump legacy is a systematic campaign of censorship on the internet.
I know, don't say
Facebook,
anything. I freaking
Twitter,
the one that hung it up.
YouTube, Google. They are
It looked a lot better.
to
when they hung
limit
it.
the voices of
yeah, he does have a lewd mouth. I will give you that. I will give you that.
conservatives and Republicans and Trump supporters and non-liberals. I was in the hearing sitting next to my friend Alex Jones when I saw the testimony of the Google chairman and House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler said that the idea of censorship of conservatives on the internet was a right-wing conspiracy theory. No, Congressman, it isn't. We have the internal documents, we have the internal videos from Google to show us that it is a systematic effort to eliminate the voices who work as an amplifier.
Now you're going to see here in just a moment, like how clearly Stone, and I'm sure Trump, they already knew that they were losing in 2020. Stone right now is going to start laying out the groundwork for Stop the Steal.
Fire for one of the greatest presidents in my lifetime. And it is exceedingly dangerous as we go
Again, in April of 2019.
into 2020 to not recognize this danger. There are two storm clouds on the horizon for the president's reelection. We have a strong economy, and it's only going to get stronger. We have a president who is committed to fighting the entrenched interests in Washington to seal our southern border and secure America's safety. But we must have two things to ensure.
Now, notice in the background, you'll hear uhuru, uhuru. Now, I believe actually you'll find a video that I have where I'm interviewing the Proud Boys outside this event, saying originally I thought they were saying uhuru, like the African-American woman on Star Trek. But that was not the case. That is not what they were saying. I don't know, the whole thing was made up by an activist liberal Canadian journalist, largely funded by the Canadian government, and named after a gay Disney musical, The Proud Boys. So, I can't really, I can't say where they like uhuru came from and such, but the whole thing was it was all just bullshit. It was all just bullshit.
Sure that this president is reelected. One is an
Yes, April 2019.
unfettered free access to the internet. Now, I can tell you as a political
April
consultant,
16th,
someone who as a strategist has elected dozens of Republicans and conservatives to public office, that prior to the election, prior to the formation of Facebook and the rise of the internet, a man or a woman
Kevin was wanting me to steal his hat.
could not run for Congress in most of the districts in the United States unless they had access to literally millions of dollars. That's the efficient mode of communications was broadcast television or broadcast radio, which in most major markets in America is prohibitively expensive. Facebook changed that in that it allowed us to geo-target with precision through paid advertising precisely those voters we needed to reach without reaching the voters around them that we had no need to reach. In 2018, Facebook systematically limited the Republican candidates' use of that tool while letting the Democrats use it unfettered. You wonder.
Are you hearing what he's saying right there? Are you hearing what he's saying right there? There we go. He's saying right there exactly what I was saying, I think, on my last broadcast. In 2008, Democrats figured out a way to scrape, to use social media, to scrape people's data, to scrape their personal information, put it together, build predictive analytics, target specifically demographics, and win in 08 and 012 without, quote-unquote, cheating. In 2012, something happened, and Facebook got caught. They got called out for allowing their data to be used. So they modified the APIs in 2012 so that Democrats or Republicans couldn't just grab the data and use it for anything that they wanted to. The profile data for like Facebook. And, but, you know, Democrats still had data, but, you know, that was getting stale, right? So their data was from 08 and 12, and now they're coming up into 16. They no longer have access to it. But the Republicans, through Cambridge Analytica, figured out which was owned by Bannon, and General Flynn was on the board of directors. Andrew Breitbart, I believe, and then a gentleman named Alexander Nix, who owned a large UK spy company, intelligence company. Can't make this shit up. Can't make this shit up. The British are coming. The British are coming. Can't make this shit up. So, well, here we go. Let's continue.
Who was asleep at the National Republican Congressional Committee, and why they filed no legal action, because this is a violation of the federal election law.
Setting it up.
Now let me talk to you about
Goes
my
bigger than
own
that.
situation. As I think most of you know, due to a court order, I'm limited now in what I can say. Roger Stone, who can't talk, is like Usain Bolt that can't run. It is frustrating night after night to watch the torrent, the tsunami, the flood of fake news in which CNN and MSNBC and the others recycle lies about me, knowing that I do not currently have the voice to.
Knowing what we know now, is it ridiculous to think that maybe Stone himself was the one that pushed the information to CNN, having them there just before the arrest?
Respond. Recycling falsehoods again and again. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't get my news from CNN for the same reason I don't eat out of the toilet.
I can fix that. My story exonerates Stone. I felt it exonerated Alex Jones too. I mean, I didn't know there's so much context I was missing at the time. I'm sorry, right? But I actually explained myself much better in the video afterwards, where, yeah, we're having the same conversation right now that I had in 2019.
So here's what I can tell you. I am facing 7 charges of lying to Congress and related charges. I have pled not guilty.
That was George that yelled out, Roger Stone did nothing wrong.
Financial and legal pressure. I will not change my plea. I will go to trial this November. I really will fight for vindication because I know the truth. That's exactly right. But it is an enormously difficult experience. I have lost my home. I have lost most of my insurance.
He's a victim of the
I've
swamp.
lost my savings. I've lost my ability to make a living because I make a living by reading and speaking. And of course, the things that people want to read and speak to me about, I'm unable to talk about these days. The cost of an aggressive legal defense is somewhere around $2 million. Obviously, if I could pay that expense myself, I would, but I am unable to do so, which is why I need your help. You can go to stonedefensefund.com, stonedefensefund.com. Put it in your
That's
cell
not
phone
with
right now.
a D, Kevin.
Stonedefensefund.com.
Stoned defense.
It's
You can
Stone,
contribute
not
through
Stone.
PayPal. You can contribute by credit card. You can do a system where you contribute a certain amount every month on an automatic basis. And if you don't like putting your financial information on the internet, many people don't, there's a place there, which happens to be right here in Tampa because I use a local accountant, where you can mail a check. I need your help as never before. Now, I want to tell you a story about this. This is a Roger Stone.
Promo code Grifter 666%. It is.
This is a stone, which I originally stole from one of my neighbor's driveways. I, of course, replaced it. And I signed my name, and this is I sell this as a paperweight. It was kind of like a running joke, you know, a gag. And they weren't selling very well until Talking Points Memo and Rolling
I can't
Stone
believe he's
and
missing out
New
on
York
the
Magazine
420
and
marketing
Huffington Post
theme.
mocked me for selling them. Now I can tell you, I've sold over 15,000 Rogers.
Nice. Ah, the Pet Rock is making.
You can get yours two places. You can go to stonecoldtruth.com, go to the shop, they're available there. I'm going to be signing and selling stones back in that corner after the program here. You can come by there. We have a limited number of them with us because I can only carry so many stones. But that is one way you can help. Also, as some of
If you look at that coin spinning around, right there, now the very middle of the front, this is the back side, that no coin, the stars, the triangle, kind of American play button, the American Awakening, that coin, everything on there right there, I designed and did with my hands, and it took hours and hours and hours. Same on this side, to get the words to line up in a circle around there. For someone that's not like, haven't been doing this forever, that was a bitch, right? There was a lot of work involved there. Wish I could have just turned around and, signed my name on a stone I picked up in the driveway and charged like $20 for it or whatever he charged for it. People call me a grifter because I'm selling a book that I spent thousands of hours to write and travel and put together and suffer through. And then print, which has its costs and stuff. Oh, he's just a grifter. Buy my book. These people are just such despicable, lying, grifting bastards. They'll turn around and then, sell a rock.
You may have seen when 29 heavily armed FBI agents stormed my home in the pre-dawn hours to arrest me.
Boy, that would suck. That would suck if they did that to Kevin's house.
That said, Roger Stone did nothing wrong.
Where all my computers are.
These can be purchased at 1776.shop. We also have a limited.
I'm pretty sure Kevin Howley didn't do
in all
anything.
sizes.
1776 .shop. I got to give Riley props for pointing that out earlier. That kind of seems like the thing that, type of thing that January 6th committee would be looking at. I hadn't seen 1776 as like a website. I know the J6 committee used the reference of 1776 as a suggestion, a hint, hinting at like insurrection or a coup. Just saying.
Back in the right corner.
Good call, Riley.
And the proceeds, after costs, which are minimal, go again to my legal defense fund. It is true, I'm sure many of you have heard it, that I have a tattoo of Richard Nixon on my back. It's about the size of a grapefruit. It's between my shoulder blades, which means I'm the only person you know with a dick on the front and the back. And it is really not a political statement. For me, it is a daily reminder that in life, when things don't go your way, when you are defeated, when you are knocked down, when you struggle and strive for something that you want to achieve and you fall short again and again, you don't get discouraged, you don't get disappointed, you get back in the game. The story of Nixon is a story of resilience. It's a
I wonder if Roger Stone, it's something I got to point out here. For like 2 seconds right then, I had myself on mute. When we watch the second part in the second hour, when I'm talking about when I went home back in the studio, I was just starting to learn OBS and the client side of broadcasting, and so I screw up a lot, and at one point, like, I'm talking, but I didn't have, it wasn't a mute thing, it was controlling the audio configurations. There's a lot that goes on into OBS. I don't care who the frick you are. And I talked for a couple minutes. So if you watch the one online at YouTube, it's like 5 minutes longer, 4 minutes longer because of me. I don't know how long it was. I cut that out for what we're watching tonight and just no. So yeah, I definitely am getting better. I'm very happy with the fact, wow, look, I didn't sit there and talk for 5 minutes like I will exhibit shortly.
story of persistence. One cannot appreciate the majesty of the highest mountain unless one has been in the lowest valley. It is.
And that is true. And but I wonder if he means that for someone like me that believes that he is almost certainly directly connected and responsible for the very things I'm trying to expose that I believe are literally, destroying humanity, right? So I wonder if he means people like me who have been in that valley and who have looked up out of a hole like, how the fuck am I ever getting out of this hole, right? But then you do. You just keep digging and clawing, right? Like Fred Taylor's song, Crawling Out. You don't give up. So I agree with what he's saying right there, but I doubt very much he's wanting someone like me to be doing that.
Nixon, who said, a man is not finished when he is defeated. He is only finished when he quits. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not quit. Some of you may know that we were forced to move from the house you no doubt saw on CNN at the time of my arrest to a one-bedroom unit at an undisclosed location in South Florida, not far from where we lived before in Fort Lauderdale. One of the reasons that I had to do this was twofold. It was a question of security. They had identified where I lived, and there were all kinds of nuts ringing my doorbell day and night. Some of them well-meaning, some of them good people, bringing checks, bringing food, bringing advice, bringing their prayers, and God bless them.
Probably some weed.
But others menacing and negative and dangerous. But what really got me was when the tour bus pulled up in front of me.
Oh, Jesus.
And we had to move to
couldn't laugh, you'd have to cry on that.
because we have had to tighten our...
Tell task force we miss her.
else. On the last bout, I should also say, we couldn't afford a moving company, so my wife and I and a hearty band of friends and supporters did the move ourselves. We had to rent a U-Haul truck, and over about a week's time, we had to box everything up, move the big pieces, put most of it in storage.
Oh, hey, I will point out, I got the confirmation email yesterday that I was approved for that studio apartment that I had applied for the other day. And so much like you'll see how I initially was doing my broadcasts out of my house, like when we come back for break and I play the stuff from 2019 that I was doing, you'll see that I was doing that from my house, although that was a house where Jay and I were both kind of splitting. It was a whole house and we were splitting the rent. The new place that I've got is a studio attached to a private home. And the nice thing about it is it's kind of like off the beaten path. It's not going to have a ton of noise. And it will reduce my expenses tremendously, right? So I'll be able to see. It's really a game of who can outlast who, in my opinion. They will do everything that they can to destroy you financially, right? Because to them, it's all about money, right? To me, it isn't about money. To me, it's about honor, integrity. So we'll find out exactly who was right here. All I got to do, the way I'm looking at it right now, I survive till November, right? I survive till November, which my expenses are reduced down tremendously to even less than what my benefits are from the VA. I survive till November, and everybody sees that, and there's a Democrat elected as Secretary of State in Ohio because of that game that Tory's playing. And I believe people are going, oh, by the way, and because of so many Republicans that I believe are going to be end up losing in November. Republicans that were just Trump or nothing, just the complete, absolute. Those candidates, I believe, are going to be painted with the same brush as Trump. They're going to be painted with Tory's brush. And it's going to take the Republican Party is going to be in tatters come November. And that's when guys like me that have been honest about their support, their intentions, but yet calling these people out, I think that's what's going to turn everything around. I really do. So let's keep going on the last few minutes we have of this right here. Notice when he comes off stage, the people around, the group I'm with, the structure.
Because our new place is very small. And on the final day, in a freak accident, the truck either wasn't in gear or slipped out of gear, and it literally rolled over and hit my wife and broke her ankle. So she would be with me tonight, but she's unable to travel. She wanted me to tell you, thank you for your support. Thank you for your blessings. She, more than anyone else, has said to me, you are not pleading guilty to something you did not do, and it's really given me the courage to fight for dedication. believe this president can be reelected.
Will be.
But my greatest concern is overconfidence among his supporters. We've talked about
Well, that's
the
not gonna
impact of
happen.
internet censorship. And if the president does not order his Justice Department to take antitrust action against Google and Facebook and Twitter and the others, that will imperil his election. But the other thing,
Maybe the same thing I was trying to expose in my key tam. You heard what he just said, the social media control. He understands what's going
we've
on.
seen this in Florida more than any place in the country, is we need an honest count. We need an election in which only people who are legally eligible vote.
Well, that just seems
There is
so
nothing
smart.
discriminatory or racist about requiring a photo ID to be allowed to vote. You need a photo ID to get on an airplane. You need a photo ID to buy a pack of cigarettes. There is no reason in the world why they should not require a photo ID to vote. Let me tell you a story. One of my neighbors,
Oh, yeah, they will. They'll cheat
right there in Broward County,
without hesitation.
Brenda Snipes was counting the votes.
Yeah. We were there.
He showed up to vote, and he said, John Smith, and he gave his address. And the nice lady at the table said, well, Mr. Smith, you already voted this morning. I said, no, I didn't. She said, well, there's another person registered at your home, Myrtle Smith. She also voted this morning. He said, that's my mother. She's been dead for 2 years. No, our system in Florida is too porous. Now, I think Governor DeSantis is doing a great job. I salute him for abandoning the antiquated and discriminatory beliefs of Rick Scott when it comes to the use of medicinal marijuana, which, ladies and gentlemen, is superior to opioids. The number of veterans that I know who are using it to treat.
I'll go into this in a lot more detail at the in the next hour when we go over my video talking about this night, that night.
PTSD. The number of people that who are depending on this medicine. I salute Governor DeSantis for a bold decision to work with the Republicans and the Democrats to make the access to medicinal marijuana available to the people of Florida. This is a great accomplishment. Secondarily, when you find out that they've been stealing in the state highway system, they've been stealing through the tolls, giving the people of Florida free access through June and suspending the tolls is an act of leadership and courage.
Amen. How about just wave all the ones I blew through on the Harley that I didn't think it
So,
caught?
I think the president will get reelected. I think he can get reelected, but he needs to be cautious about getting an honest count. I don't believe we really lost the House in 2018. I believe voter fraud cost us the House. I think censorship on the internet cost us the House. But let me tell you what I know about Donald Trump, because I have.
Did you hear what that man just said? I believe censorship from the internet cost us the House. That was in the midterms, 2018. Kind of like what I said, wasn't it?
I've known him for 40 years. I first recognized that he had the size, I don't mean the physical size, but the stature, the boldness, the courage, the audacity to be a great president in 1988. I wanted him to run again in 2000. Then I wanted him to run again in 2012. But I now recognize that had he run, the time was not right.
Yep.
The country and the time wasn't perfect. 2016 was the time when the American people were ready to change a tradition in which our presidents had always been governors or senators or generals and turn to somebody from outside of politics.
Yep.
Donald Trump has lost money being president. Donald Trump didn't run for president to get a bigger house. He had a bigger house. He didn't run for president to get a better airplane. He had a better airplane. He didn't run for president to become well known. He was the best known businessman on the face of the
Hey,
planet.
for everybody listening,
Donald Trump
I'm
is
going to be talking
contributing
about
his
my
his
conversation
salary
tonight
back to the
with Roger
taxpayers.
Stone on my
He's
YouTube
not doing this
broadcast
for himself,
at
ladies and
10
gentlemen.
o'clock. Go to
He is doing it for
victimoftheswamp.com.
us. He is doing it for America. So, James, I thank you for your kind invitation and the ability to reschedule this. I thank you, so many of you, for coming out tonight. I ask you to stop by the table in the back, buy a Stone, get one of my books, Stone's Rules, or To Make You the President 2016. We have a limited number with us. Get one of your iconic Roger Stone Did Nothing t-shirts.
Nice.
And if you can, we take cash contributions. We also have a square back there for a credit card. Make a contribution to Stone Defense Fund.
His wife broke
I
her
will
foot.
fight, but I need you to have my back. Thank you, and God bless you.
Guys, I'm going to try, if you're listening to this, go to victimoftheswamp.com. You'll have a link to my YouTube tonight. I'm going to talk about my conversation that I had about the shadow net with Roger Stone. That's what we'll come back to. This is really big. Hey, George. There's George.
Well, hey guys, here's what's going to happen. Is Arvid Cowell here? Arvid, if you're here, raise your hand. No? Okay.
There he lies, man.
Come up and talk to Andrew. I appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, what we're going to do, Roger's going to go back into the corner back here, and just for safety reasons for everybody here, don't be piling on. He's going to sit back there as long as you need to wait and have your book signed and things like that. There's a method that you'll be going up the ramp there, and just try to stay organized.
What's that, George?
While the other speakers are taking place here.
You got them all?
Andrew.
Hey, George. George.
So everybody be respectful.
Whose phone is that?
There, he'll wait as long as we need to do anything. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to start with...
Well, hey, I'm signing off, guys.
Andrew's going to bring up a few people.
Like I said, 10 o'clock tonight, close to it, I'm going to do a YouTube broadcast. Look at all those people. Look at all those people. Those are the patriots. I look at most of the people sitting there like I do phishing scam victims. We'll come back in the next hour with the video that I made following this event, talking about my speaking with Roger, my meeting with Roger Stone. That was a large group of people that most were MAGA, but a lot of people, a handful of people, I believe, were there for different intentions, for their own purposes, for their own, with their own plans. I believe you were looking at the early stages right there of what became January 6th. I will see you guys back here after a 10-minute intermission. If you can't join us after the break, thank you very much for tuning in. If you can, please visit freedomstream.tv. God bless you, Patrick. Or patreon.com/American Awakening. Or you can Twitch. If you're on my Twitch, you can help support there at twitch.tv/PFC_Bergy. I will be back in 10 minutes. Thank you very much, folks. Happy Friday, Trump's next wife. It's like hit the right button, Berg. Welcome back, everyone, and special welcome. I see Trump's next wife is in the house. I just wanted to take just a moment and personally thank Trump's next wife for all the amazing support. You know, we're in a time right now where I've got these sociopaths that have done everything that they can within their power to try to destroy the work that I've done that I've been doing for a very long time. Very long time. Let me do something before we start that, just to show people, like, let me see here. Give me one moment. I need to go to studio there. Content. Let me scroll way back. Here from April of 2019. Actually, no, I want one of my speaking engagements. Here we are. Kevin Holly show. That doesn't count. No, here's one. Obama's Shadow Net. Part 1. Oh, let's do Ivanka's shoes. It's like a couple minutes long. Let me this. Let me go back here. See, these are early days of the Bergy-Bit, the American Awakening. So, don't be too harsh in your artistic criticisms. I'm doing my best here. We're doing my best here. I could have put some sound in there.
There are really two components to the social media psychological warfare. What you see on TV, what we spent the last couple of years dealing with is nothing, right? You have the one component, which is the dissemination of the content, right? So you would create new, in IIA, it's called IIA, Interactive Internet Activities. That's the military nomenclature for this. In IIA, and this is me at the in front of the sign of the Force Psychological Operations Group in Iraq, that's me. And here we are. This is a shot of the actual application, the commercial shot of it, right? It was called, we called it the Shadow Net. That was not a classified name for it. I can't discuss the classified name for it. But this was a commercial name for it.
You remember how, well, if you're on Twitch, you would have seen, I think it was Hip that made the comment of verified Bergy, right? Well, I do. Everything that I've said and done, I've actually can verify with unclassified but factual information, right? The actual evidence. So, again, these people are just doing everything that they can to try to destroy the work that I've done for years. This goes back even 2018, 2017, 18.
This product, which was owned by Dynology, which was owned by a very small, Dynology is like a 15-person company, very small, owned by literally Obama's national security advisor, right? So Obama's national security advisor is profiting now from the commercial sale of an application, the same thing that we indicted the Russians for. Obama's national security advisor is profiting from this when taxpayers paid for it. And the sad thing is, all the work that we did over there for the Force Psychological Operations Group, when the new company came in that had won the contract, they had to start over from scratch, right? So think about the readiness that does. Think about how that degrades a capability. It makes General Jones a much nicer wine cellar, right? It makes his family. People get upset with Donald Trump because, oh, God forbid, Ivanka might profit off in selling shoes, right? I'm like, oh my God. Obama was profiting off of, or his national security advisors profiting off of defense contracts. I think that's a little more serious than shoes, right?
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
I've been doing this a while, my friends. I like to think I'm getting a little bit better at it from a production perspective. A little more aware of my surroundings, and when audio is off or on, that still happens, but less frequently. let's get into this. Three, two. Nice. Going live, Jay. Okay, we are showing we're live now, but was showing that it was actually like it failed. We'll bring her live. Welcome to Tuesday night's edition of The American Awakening.
Guard against the acquisition of
Here's my
unwarranted
original
influence,
opening.
whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Nice, nice. Those effects. Oh, my leg's on fire.
Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society.
Nice. Look at that. Quality graphics. Oh, who's that handsome man? Jaybird.
So I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't get that, man. They go through all this trouble to get here and then come here and vote Democrat.
Now, a quick note on the person who said that. What's his name? Shit, I'm not going to be able to think of his name. But he was Gary. He was a guy that had the vagina, that made the vagina hat that said "Make America Great Again" on it. Yeah, he was the vagina hat man with "Make America Great" on it. Freaking, he was hilarious. One of the funnest people I met along the campaign trail.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our...
I didn't have the heart to move it. I just stopped and grabbed some video on my Harley on the way back from an event. Somebody had just left their cell phone there.
Liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
See, now I did some cutting.
There we are. Okay.
Some mistakes out here.
Welcome back, folks.
Damn.
Yeah, that's like a huge image of me there. That's scary. But working on that. I'm actually uploading as we speak, setting up. Just give me a few moments. I'm setting up. I just walked back in after getting back from the Trump Club event, or the Tampa Bay Trump Club here in Clearwater, and met Roger Stone tonight, and that went very interestingly. I've decided I'm going to be somewhat limited in my discussion with him, but let's just say that, where is this? Okay, let's just say that it actually went really well. Whether or not he's going to call me back, I don't know. I hope he does, because basically I told him what was going on quickly, and I said, you know, my story exonerates you if you, you know, would you rather have, what conversation would you rather have right now? Would you rather be having a conversation about how I built the shadow net for Obama? Or would you rather be having a conversation about Trump-Russian collusion, which is completely fabricated? I would rather have a conversation about, you know, how
Obama's shadow net. Raise your hand. Again, this is April of 2019. Right after I met with Roger Stone. Why didn't he do anything? It's everything that I've been talking about is exactly the same things he was saying up on stage, which kind of makes me think he was saying those things up on stage because he knew about them, because he was actually,
using them. What are the odds on that? Because if he wasn't hiding something, if he wasn't using them himself and wanted to try to shut me up or discredit me, then, you know, see, I'm trying to figure it out, right? Trying to figure it out. Was Stone set up with Shadowgate by me? Somebody using me? Was I set up with Shadowgate for Shadowgate by like Stone, who took 1 year to put something together, which, you know, it would take a while. He certainly, like I said, and I go into that here in a bit, he certainly never, he never called me back, that's for damn sure. Obama and his national security advisor built and owned and made commercially available the exact same social media psychological warfare capabilities we indicted the 13 Russians for, and one of the greatest moments of hypocrisy from our government, I would add. Let me, it's hard to like talk and set this up. I like to have these things set up prior to starting, but this was literally impossible to do. This is so embarrassing. Minutes, 51 seconds. That should be it. I gotta load that in. I gotta load the audio for it. I didn't properly change that easy, the transitions. I was screwing up the audio sources, but I got that squared away now. Here we go. I gotta display capture. Come on, where's my? Okay, bear with me one moment, folks. I'm gonna have to send this
on exactly the right time.
So we're live right now with Roger Stone. He's actually sitting at my table. Hey, George. Actually sitting here.
Isn't that just beautiful post-production or production work there? Oh, there it's now. It's in the middle
right now with Roger Stone. He's actually sitting at my table. Hey, George. He's actually sitting right here.
Now this is painful. This is painful to watch. I do like to think I got better.
On American citizens. Immigration policies that left.
I don't even have the audio on right now for me.
I talked to him about the shadow net.
The people who were waiting in line to come here legally.
Jones and Dynalogy. I've had a great talk.
Trade policies that embrace these
he knows it.
Hey, there we go. Look at that.
So we're live right now with
in 2016.
Roger Stone. He's actually sitting at my table. Hey, George.
He's
actually sitting right here.
Where our inherent national interests were not clear. The erosion of our civil liberties, using our intelligence agencies to collect metadata.
Right? Using our intelligence agencies to collect metadata. Are you serious? Are you freaking kidding me? What the hell do you think ShadowNet, me trying to expose, was? He's known about this since 2019.
Policies that left our streets and neighborhoods unsafe.
I talked to him about the ShadowNet.
The people who were waiting in line to come here legally.
His issue with me on this was, according to his conversation and interview he did with Roger Stone, was that we claimed he had a greater or more recent connection to Paul Manafort than he is claiming he had. That's why he threw all of this under the bus. That's why he discredited me. That's why he discredited Shadowgate, because it potentially looked like he was tied to Manafort, which it kind of still does. It literally still does. Now we know from a Raw Story report, or actually they were reporting on somebody else, that Manafort was helping Trump behind the scenes even in 2020.
carefully so he didn't screw up his potential pardon.
Jones and Dynalogy. I've had a great talk with
Trade policies that embrace these
exactly who I'm
multi-international trade
talking
agreements,
about.
kind of one size fits
Horrible
all, like
audio
NAFTA,
going on.
which literally suck the jobs and opportunity.
Okay. There we go. All right, people. So apparently, I have this problem, and it's because I rushed to put that video in. It somehow disabled. I should be back up. I get getting a thumbs up from Jay. He's still mad. He wants a microphone.
So I just cut.
Don't forget to go to the our website, victimoftheswamp.com.
I just cut out like several minutes, probably about 2 minutes, maybe in all actuality, of just me talking with no sound.
We are in need of some donations, some contributions financially. People, come on. We're really putting together something. We're getting this information out, right? This is a lot of effort. I've literally written a book. I've traveled all over the state. I'm going to speaking events and such, and to get this message out.
Hear that background hum?
Unless somebody's got a better idea, like if you got the number, if you can call up President Trump and say, hey, this guy seems pretty straight up. He says he built a shadow net for Obama. Same things we indicted the Russians for. Unless somebody can do that and get Trump's attention that way, this is the best I can come up with, right? So, victimoftheswamp.com. Go there. You can subscribe, like, share. You can write from victimoftheswamp.com. You can join the American Awakening group. You can like, subscribe, share with our YouTube. And
don't you love how Tory, Millie, Gavin, how they just do everything that they can now to try to destroy me financially? Oh, they can't do that. They can't do that. I am, like I said, highly resilient. The changes I'm making right now, that is going to allow me to stay on the air, allow me to keep these things coming, to keep the pressure on, to keep the accountability, to keep exposing these people. But like I said, come November, I'm going to be going full, I'm going to be serving as much crow as humanly possible to all of these people who've been attacking me and doing and saying all of these things. I don't think they're going to be able to survive the lies that they perpetuated in order to justify your support for them for these last 2 years now, when what I believe is going to happen in November happens.
And the swamp. So there's just a ton of information, a ton of stuff that I've written. Everything that I say, I've documented, written, put proof behind it. But no. So Roger Stone said he was going to reach out to me. George Kalala, Bikers 45, was there, helped me, talked with him, backed my story up. George knows me pretty well about this point. Been driving all over the state of Florida with him for like the last year, doing the DeSantis campaigns and different campaigns. Boom, Trump, right?
Oh, but I owe everything that I have today to Millie and Gavin and Tory because of these shysters putting together whatever the hell trap that they set up for me with Shadowgate, and now attack me, although they use me as a subject matter expert in 3 documentaries, still fundraise money, still get money from hats and shirts and posters of Shadowgate, but yet completely throw me under the bus because I refuse to play ball when it comes to
the people that are now funding them and supporting them, like Patrick Byrne, like Rudy Giuliani, like General Flynn, and all of these people that I call out that because they're doing exactly what I was trying to expose. And then they use the exact same morally and ethically bankrupt fake personas, lies to turn around and discredit me later, 3 documentaries later. But there's a reason for it. Like I said, you can see that they're lying, right? You can see it. I go back to 2019, even 2018, my first book in 2017, saying these same things. They can't do that. They can't get away with it. Tell me.
Because we have to drain the swamp. That's what the boss says. And the swamp is deep. And the swamp is well established, right? It's not just politicians. It's the fourth estate. It's a plethora of people, right? So we need to be able to get this message out. Stone said he's going to contact me, and I will keep this updated. I'm going to send some information, share some stuff over there. At the very least, I feel pretty confident that he's got my card. He's going to go to the website. He's going to see what I have to say. If he doesn't contact me, what does that say, right? I don't know what that says. If he doesn't contact me, because like a lot of people, when they have spoken to me, when they've even verified things that I've said, something generally happens. I don't know what. I can speculate. I speculate some sort of influence, either somebody who signs their check, or fear, or career decisions. They just don't touch this. That tells me even more that what I'm doing and what I'm saying is on track, right? Because if they didn't believe me, I'm pretty sure they would have come out and said, hey, this guy's full of crap or something, right? Everybody, so many people has vetted this, and nobody's come out and saying anything other than like any major news organization. But I've had a lot of other smaller people that have really helped to get this message out as far as we have. So on that note, I'm going to start rounding it off. It was a good night. I will keep everyone updated if I hear anything more.
Seemed like a good night at the
from
time.
Roger Stone. I would like to be able to sit down and talk with him for a bit. I think, perhaps maybe he'll log into my site and see this tonight, right? Mr. Stone, if you do, I have a huge amount of respect for many of the things that you've done. The work that you've done with medical marijuana for troops returning home with PTSD. People don't understand that. People see a stigma to that. I challenge anyone who doesn't think that something like being able to smoke a little grass to help you sleep at night when you're struggling from PTSD, combat related, or any PTSD, right? Go down to a place called Safe Harbor next to the Pinellas County Jail. It's a homeless shelter. Go there. They have a veterans pod. Go back to that veterans pod. And the vets back there are walking around, a lot of them, like zombies. And it's not because of marijuana. It's because they're being prescribed this just mind-numbing, zombifying garbage from the VA. God knows what they've been prescribed. And then it doesn't work, right? But it checks a box for somebody at the VA, for a drug company or something. I don't know what the point is. But I know that PTSD for me is something you just gotta. I deal with therapy. I've dealt with a therapist for a while now, and you don't get through it by just pumping yourself full of drugs. You get through it by dealing with your daily life issues, and when things get really difficult, when you're having
difficult sleeping or something at night, and you can do something like just relax and just, you know, forget the problems that you've had, and you can sleep, that's a huge accomplishment. And if it can be done without, you know, freaking 20,000 different pills.
Remember how Tori attacked me for being an alcoholic, threatening or suggesting I was heading to Lynn Woods because I was like having a PTSD breakdown? These are such disgusting people. There's nothing that they won't say or do or use to protect their own ass, to protect their lies. But when people see this, when people see the truth on what I've been saying and how consistently I've been saying and the evidence that I put with it to support it for so long, they realize that these people have been lied. They've been lied to.
Then all the better, right? So the things that Roger Stone's doing like that, I really appreciate. I have no idea whether or not he's a good guy or a bad guy. To call him a bad guy because of his influence operations and because of his techniques in elections would be calling me a bad guy, right? So I'm not going to do that. I did the same things that he did. I'm not going to judge.
Kind of
I
hypocritical.
actually think he's, you know, a really good guy. He loves his country, loves his community, and he's seen opportunities in D.C. and he's taken them.
You know, and by the way, I've learned a lot more about Roger Stone in the last 2 years, or actually 3 years. 3 years than I knew right then, obviously. It was different. It was different. The stuff he's done with DC lobby firms, with his DC lobby firms, and over the decades, it's, yeah, I mean, it's bad. It was different though than what it was different than what I was helping with, but nonetheless, equally morally bankrupt.
I think maybe, I don't know, but I bet you if you asked him, some of the things that he probably did back in the 80s, 90s, he, you know, maybe he regrets. Maybe now he's older, maybe now he sees how the political system has just fallen apart, but maybe he doesn't, and maybe he shouldn't regret it, because he's been fighting a war out there that most of us didn't even know existed. I didn't know existed until I got involved with these folks, until I went to work for the deep state. But I'm going to sign off here now. It's 1 minute to, or it's about coming up on 20 minutes right now. I appreciate everybody listening. Again, please go to victimoftheswamp.com. Please subscribe, like, share, go down and join our American Awakening group. And we'll continue to bring you more information like this, more events. I do generally go to several events a month, and I'm able to tie in a lot of things, so many things that you see every day through the fake news. I can explain them from the perspective of someone who's actually worked within the deep state, worked for these guys, right? So I think we can provide a lot of really good information, and I'm trying. I'm no Dan Bongino here. I know Hannity. Don't even want to be. I have a huge respect for Hannity, though. He went from nothing to something. So, but I'm figuring this out. I'm trying to provide good content, and I really appreciate everybody for joining in. Thank you very much, and y'all have a great night. We will see you. I do the Kevin Holly show tomorrow. It's a quote-unquote comedy show. Kevin's going to be funny one of these days. Oh, my God. But I do the Kevin Holly show tomorrow night, so I don't know if I do, you know, we don't finish that until like 8, 9, 10, like 11 o'clock. I'll try to do it, but because my YouTube status doesn't allow me to do that yet from my phone. I can only do it through this software. Because of that, probably be like late before I do it tomorrow. But otherwise, Monday through Friday, we've been doing pretty good at putting these out at 10 o'clock. Ran a lot late last night, but I had a lot of fun.
Ran a lot
we
late.
Discussed a lot of stuff. So you guys have a great evening. Again, thank you very much for listening. I think things are coming along a little bit better. Sorry for the silence we had earlier, but working out these bugs. Have a great evening, folks.
Nice. Let's stop this. We don't need it to keep circling around. Yep. This young lady, sorry, gentlemen, I believe she's taken now, is running against Governor DeSantis in Florida and she's apparently like the only statewide elected Democrat right now. She's pro-weed, and she's also a court decision to support arguments in a challenge to federal regulations that make it illegal for medical marijuana patients to buy guns. So she's a Democrat, but she's running on a platform that I complimented Roger Stone for pointing out back in 2019 about medical marijuana, right? And let me do this here. Yeah, there we go. That's good. So when I was in the midterms 2018, just before, 6 months before the meeting Roger Stone there, I spent that evening, I was invited to speak as an author. I was the keynote speaker to the Young Republicans Club in Tampa. And there were about 100 Republicans there, young Republicans. And I said, while I was there, and they were literally counting out the votes on who won, when Nikki Fried won, like, all the people there applauded. What? I was at the Young Republicans. I was speaking at the Young Republicans Club about my book, Victim of the Swamp, and all the young Republicans, 100 of them probably in that room, maybe not, probably about 50 to 70. They were all cheering on the Democrat that beat the Republican. I said to myself then, and I asked them, I asked those guys and women, who pretty much everybody that was in the room that I spoke to, I said, why did you guys vote for the Democrat? And they said because the Republican that was running was just like hell-bent against any support for medical marijuana. Really? I said in 2020, if Trump would have, listened to what I said in Shadowgate, and let's say we were talking about Obama's national security advisor in the ShadowNet, and not his impeachment, he
probably would have won. Almost certainly. On the same note, I said at the time, if he had taken the position in support of legalization of medical marijuana, or at least taking it off the Schedule 6 or whatever, the drug schedule that it's on, making it equal to heroin, he would have won. Hands down. Now, if you look at Nikki Fried's voting, she's like 100% Democrat with like 2 issues. And that is she will support guns and she'll support medical marijuana. Because she knows those are the 2 winning issues right now. You don't need to cheat. You just need to support what your constituents want. Which is hard to do when you're bought and paid for sometimes like by the pharmaceutical lobbies and all, or the alcohol lobbies, the cigarette lobbies. When you're funded by them, it's kind of hard to win. So yeah, you have to cheat. But if you just run on a platform, even if your positions are socialism left, far left, all you have to do is take up a couple points and stick by them, and she will. She'll stick by legalization of marijuana, and she'll stick by supporting the ability for people with concealed weapon permits to be able to get their concealed weapons if they have, even when they have a medical marijuana license. Okay. I guarantee you, if DeSantis took that position, the race in the governor's race would be over. He would literally take away the biggest advantage she has in the election, right? But because he's talking about, which you'll see so many people compliment Ron DeSantis about the actions that he took with medical marijuana in Florida, right? See if Neil's like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know if he's talking about me. Weed as a platform. Well, if you got to understand what I'm saying. Was anything I just said not true? You don't know. You weren't in the room. But I was in the room when I saw a whole room full of young Republicans voted for the Democrat. Okay. So if you want to actually win without having to cheat, like using psychographics or your data and exploiting people's data and targeting them, targeting the neurotics, that's Bannon's words, not mine, then you need to run on a platform that people want. And if you want to bring in the independents, which everybody knows independents, call the election. They determine these elections. So you want to bring those in. You need to listen to what they're saying, right? It's not me. Don't shoot the messenger. Although, yeah, I'm high. I smoke pot. I have PTSD. You hear what I said about Safe Harbor? The veterans pod of the homeless shelter. Have you been there? Where the homeless veterans are just kind of walking around the pod like looking like zombies because all getting fed these drugs that the VA have them on, which just have turned them into freaking zombies. Right? They can't sleep because some of the things that they saw or did keep them awake sometimes, or they can't focus on other things because that's all they can focus on. And it just drives them crazy. So why not have the option of just being able to do something that most everybody knows is true? And what I supported about with Roger Stone, was, I mean, he gets it. He sees the writing on the wall. So if Trump took that position in 2024, he would actually probably win. Although I'm not even so certain now he would be able to win taking that position in 2024, because he is going to be damaged goods, in my opinion, by then, because of what these sociopaths he continues to because these sociopaths he continues to give platforms to are going to end up, he's going to be painted with the same brush by them, right? But again, these are just my opinions, right? These are my opinions, though, that are actually based on facts. This woman right here could be the next governor of Florida. You don't think DeSantis has vulnerabilities with his association to Trump? He does. And that's because I believe Trump made some bad calls by putting some people around him that were despicable people. Studio mode off. There we go. So, and I also tell you about my personal experiences being on the campaign trail, what I saw. You can't ignore that, right? You cannot ignore that. What do we got here? Try to get in there. Who knows? Maybe Flynn will try. Maybe Pence or Pompeo. Someone has no idea there's fentanyl in it. Makes pretty much murder. Yeah, there's a lot of really big issues. They could regulate it, but they don't want to, because they're getting too much support from other industries, right? Tobacco's legal. Jesus. Think about the stuff that they allow. And yet something like pot is treated the same as heroin. They just wear the flag pins and walk around saying how we support our troops and trust us, but it's all just bullshit. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Let me go here. Looking forward to getting a lot of stuff done this weekend. Fortunately, I knew, simply because the building is shutting down, remodeling. We haven't had septic working here since April. It's been a freaking nightmare here. Fred pulled out of working with me on this because the place was falling apart and they were putting it back together just as a joke. And not to mention, when they finish with the reconstruction with the new owners with the building here, they're going to raise up the rent like 3 times, which is going to be insane. So, again, I want to do a special thank you to Trump's next wife. And all of you, right? I really do, but her support right now, when I was being attacked by these people and I got like nothing coming into the website, I've got all of these people. They've just, Patrick Byrne, General Flynn, Millie, Gavin, Tory, all these people have just said, screw you, Bergy, to all the work that you've done. You saw tonight, all the effort, all the stuff that you had put into. Now, fortunately, some of like the Patreon supporters and stuff I've had going back to 2018 or so, or even 17, are still, they stuck with me because they saw it. They saw the bullshit that people like Tori, Millie, Gavin, and others were putting out. Trump's next wife did, and missing parts. Like every time my daughter or daughters come by, they're like, "Thank you, Miss Parts." But no, the being able to combine my living expenses with the studio is a game changer. It's a game changer. They can't come after my employer. They can't come after all of these usual things that they do to silence people, to shut them up, so they can continue their grifting. If you can help out, right? Obviously, if you can help out, I could use your help. Please visit freedomstream.tv. Probably very soon going to be taking books offline from there and ordering anything other than like shirts and such, and make the books strictly available at Patreon for support there. But I'm still, right now, I've been spending like just all my time focused on getting things cleaned up, getting my existing orders caught up and out, checking on a few issued orders that we have, and getting everything ready. But now I've got to move the entire office, not far, but far enough. But this is going to be cool. And I'm going to be right near downtown Newport Richey. So that'll be awesome, right? These are good. The things are going so well right now, it's not even funny. Even though I've had to sit here and reduce my expenses and really thin everything out to be able to continue to get this message to you, because of people like you, like Trump's next wife, like Susan, like so many others that have helped me for so many years now, I'm able to continue what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is telling the truth consistently. Since the beginning that I started, consistently just trying to do the right thing, oftentimes in the most unartful ways, but nonetheless trying to do the right thing. I got like an ash on me there or something. Y'all have a great weekend. I will see you Monday. Hope you enjoyed what I was able to bring to you here tonight. I think the show's definitely looking better and more professional, audio-wise, everything. Well, I look down and I'm like, oh God, I hope I haven't been talking with the audio off. But just a good quality. I'll have to check out that thing that Dean did yesterday. I hear he had done something, kind of a follow-up. I haven't had a chance to look at that. A lot going on, my friends. But you know, I've documented pretty well what I've been saying this entire time. And that is why I'm able to come to you and say, hey, this is what they're doing, and this is how I can show it and prove it. Thank you very much. Good night, and God bless all of you. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday.